Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here. I'm back in America and I'm ready to tell you about why Lina is absolutely broken. So what is good about Lina this patch and why is carry Lina something that I think might be the best strategy of the patch or one of the best strategies? Well, there's a few main things. So the first thing I want to cover is the talents. Her talents are crazy. At 10, you get 25 damage on a hero that has absurd attack speed. Then at level 15, you have maybe the best level 15 talent in the game. And that might sound like an over-exaggeration, but let me explain it to you guys. It's 5 Fiery Soul magic resist per stack. So if you have 7 stacks, you're getting 35% magic resist. Now, it doesn't stack additively, so it doesn't put you to like, what would that be, 64%? It puts you actually more towards around like 59, 58, but that's insane. And if you ulti with your facet, Thermal Runway, you get 12 stacks for 5 seconds. Then you're getting technically 60% resistance from your E. And I'm not kidding, that is straight up how it works. The other talents, the Fiery Soul per stack is unbelievably good at 20. And then this level 25 talent is unbelievable as well. She has 4 broken talents. The 150% crit on target effects by spells works through BKB. If you don't know what it is, if you hit someone with a Q, a W, or an ult, for 3 seconds you get a 150% crit. That's pretty good, right? Just for some perspective, Daedalus is obviously much higher, but it's 225, and Daedalus crits hit like a truck. This is 150% crit on every attack. All of them. Unbelievable, and it goes through BKB. So I definitely think Lina carry is one of the best strategies in the game. Let's go through how to do it because it's mechanically a little difficult, but if you can get it down, you're gonna have a lot of success. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. Okay, so in the laning stage, you're either gonna take Q or W level 1. Against melee heroes, I recommend the W to stun them when they go up for last hits and hit them. Against ranged heroes, I would take the Q. The only argument for Q regardless of the matchup is that it's better at hitting more units, so it gives you more stacks for E at level 2. But in general, if you want to keep it simple, Q against ranged and W against melee. In terms of starting items, it's generally either Wand 3 branches against lanes that cast a lot of spells, or you can go Blades of Attack and 3 branches because this hero's base damage is not the best. Not terrible, but it's not the best. And with the high attack speed from Miri, you get a lot of value out of this Blades of Attack. This Blades of Attack is going to turn into Falcon Blade, and the branches will generally turn into Wand. So for the early laning guys, what I really recommend is keeping your stacks up and then putting a lot of pressure on the enemy. The main advantage of Lina in the laning stage is that she has 670 attack range. This is much higher than the average ranged hero. For instance, Razor has 475 attack speed. Something like Wind Ranger has 600. Something like Visage has 600. So you almost always have a range advantage outside of a few specific matchups. As a result, you can hit people without them being able to hit you. Now the main way you want to do this, and we'll see if he actually does it in this replay, but the main way you want to do this is without pulling aggro. And the way you do that is you issue the attack command before you're in range of the creeps. So best case scenario, you're not attacking like this. You're not clicking on them like this when you're already in the wave. You would want to position here, issue the attack command, and then when you walk up to the creeps, because you've already issued the attack command, for 3 seconds you can't pull aggro. So if you pull aggro, quote unquote, before you're in range of the creeps, you actually have a small window where you won't tank the creeps. And this is really broken on ranged heroes like Lina, Razor, even something like Wind Ranger. I know this isn't super Lina specific, but it's really OP on Lina, and so I wanted to explain it quickly. Hopefully you guys understand. So level 3, what he does here is 1 point Q and then 2 points E. And the E scales really well. It's 8 more attack speeds per stack, right? Which is a ton, it's a double. And so yeah, goes in here, gets only 3 stacks, so he's not hitting nearly as hard as he could be. You can see he does a lot of damage to Spearbreaker here. You just have generally very high attack speed once you build up some attacks, and he pushes the Razor out of lane as well. Something to keep in mind how this ability works, if you guys don't understand it, is it gives you a stack per creep hit and per hero hit, right? So make sure you're hitting as many things as possible when you're trying to build stacks. On top of that, if you hit anything, it will refresh the previous stacks and add on what you've hit. So for instance, right here, if he was to nuke, he would have 5 stacks with new duration. He isn't going to do it here because there's nothing to actually use the stacks on, but that is what you want to think about. Now, the main weakness of Lina is absolutely her inability to stay alive against ganks. This hero is very squishy, and so you have to keep this in mind. The main thing I would say is if it's a good wand lane, absolutely buy a wand and buy raindrops. You also need a lot of mana on this hero, so both of those items super help out. But yeah, in this clip here, even though he goes on the Spearbreaker and gets that guy low, he ends up just dying to some Razor plus Monkey King gank, and there's not too much he can do about it. Typically, you just want to fight back, and he actually gets the Razor really low here, so I like how he reacted. When you get ganked on Lina, just try to man up, right? Do as much damage as you can, get out the damage you can. You're not going to be able to run away most of the time. It's just not feasible. Just man up. Now, he ends up getting ganked again, and he's 0-3 at this point, but still manages to carry this game and be top net worth very soon. So what is the way he does this? It's very simple, actually, guys. If the game is hard and your safe lane is very scary, you either farm backwards, you can farm these two camps and wait for them to push in the wave, or you can go mid. I would not recommend taking Ancients yet. I would take Ancients when I have Maelstrom. Until then, it's possible, but it's pretty cringe. It doesn't feel very good. And so yeah, try to take Ancients on Maelstrom. Until then, you want to either hit these back camps and wait for the wave to push in. Optimally, you're winning your lane and you're just farming your area. That's best case scenario. But also, you can go mid, right? Because the mid plus these two camps is very, very efficient. And it's an option you should keep in mind. He also does opt to TP into this bottom fight, and it's not like you're completely useless. At the end of the day, you have an ulti that does, 500 damage and gives you 12 stacks of your E. It's pretty scary, right? This hero does a lot of damage early on. The problem is you just can't get gone on, and so you want to TP into fights, right? Look for opportunities to TP in and clean up, but you definitely don't want to be holding your safe lane tower. You don't want to be the brunt of the gank, so don't be afraid to give up your tower, move areas. You're not TA, you're not Wind Ranger, you're a hyper carry, you're more like a Luna than anything. Beyond Maelstrom, the hero just begins to go crazy. He's maxing out his W, by the way, and the reason why is it goes up in stun duration, so it helps you man up. And yeah, once you have Maelstrom, you just farm Ancients faster than most heroes. You do have some sustain issues, so in most games you want to take Seeds of Serenity. It is really, really nice to be able to take something like Spark of Courage that gives flat damage. Of course, with the Fiery Soul, damage is OP, but it's kind of tough. You generally want Royal Jelly or Seeds of Serenity, in my opinion. Yeah, once again, Distress really what makes players like this good is just how they read situations and how they react. They don't panic, they just make the best play. And so he gets gone on here, it looks terrible, right? Obviously you're like, okay, he's getting ultied into a Monkey King ring, but the Tinker support buys him some time, and instead of panicking and trying to run away, he realizes that he's dead, and he gets off his W, ulti onto the Monkey King, and gets the guy really low so that some return kills can happen. And this is really, really important. Once again, I'm repeating what I said before, but I just want to make it a main point because you're gonna get gone on, you're gonna feel like you're dying a lot in some games if they have a lot of gap close, but it's okay, just get your damage out and help your team turn the fight. And from there, guys, just hit Ancients. I can't stress this enough. You will be level 1 billion if you just hit Ancients. You do need to kite the camp a lot if you take a damage neutral item. If you take Seeds, you still need to kite it, but a little bit less. You can afford to tank some hits. And it just goes back and forth between the top wave and the Ancient camps. And if you copy this exact item build, I recommend aiming for around a minute 14 to 15 timing on that Gleipnir. It's 123 CS at minute 15, and keep in mind, this is with 4 deaths. Deaths should not make you poor on this hero, because you farm way too fast. I don't want to hear it, oh, there's no space. My game was too hard. Guys, you can always find farm on this hero. You can farm any part of the map, any neutral camps, anything, as he sets up a kill. And yeah, this is pretty simple now. Once you have Gleipnir, you need to scream at your teammates to mana boot you off cooldown because this hero has insane mana problems. In fact, there are some carries that will even buy mana boots at this point of the game, and I actually really like that. He's going to opt to go for bots this game and kind of play this really fast-paced tempo, but if you're not opting for boots of travel, I would actually highly recommend mana boots on this hero because you can drop Gleipnir due to the fact that it gives 24 intelligence, pop your mana boots, and get a lot of value out of it as a result. If you're not going to do that and you're going to go boots of travel or just some other item, you have to spam clarities, or you need to buy something like Linken's and buy the Voidstone immediately with more clarities. You need clarities no matter what. Or you need to scream at your support Tinker to just bring you a filled bottle every 3 seconds. I honestly don't know. This hero just has mana problems. So in this upcoming teamfight here, I just want to highlight the execution. First of all, he's Grove Bow. This item's completely broken on this hero. Just because attack range is so key on a positioning based hero, and then match resist reduction on a hero with a bunch of nukes is really, really great. Also, keep in mind he's taking stats over the Q, and the reason why he takes stats over Q, even though it scales well in terms of damage and cooldown, is it goes up in mana, and you have mana problems, and you just actually want to use the Q to keep your E going. I'm not kidding, you actually prefer to use the level 1 Q over the max W to keep stacks up because of mana purposes, and this is what these top players do. But yeah, in this teamfight here, level 13, 2 points in ulti, feeling good. I like how he waits on the outside, very, very good positioning. You do not want to get caught in the middle. Kites around, finds a really nice Gleipnir here onto 3. And this teamfight, in my opinion, looked over. Unfortunately, he ran out of mana. And this is where, yeah, I actually disagree with his items a little bit. Either mana boots or the magic wand would allow him to just straight up ulti here and cast his Q. And the ulti's a big deal because, it gives you 12 stacks of your E, right? Of course, it's just good for bursting heroes like Monkey King, but it gives you 12 stacks of E. So when you hit a big stun like this, you want to instantly ulti so you can well, burst people during the stun. And I actually think he would have been able to kill the Jakiro here, right? The Jakiro lives on 1 HP. He absolutely would have killed the Jakiro if he could have used the ulti immediately, where he had to wait because of mana problems. And again, right, runs out of mana. And so, yeah, it would. Oh my gosh, it lost him 2 kills. That's pretty crazy. You know, I swear I didn't cherry pick this example, like, to really prove a point. It just immediately, you can see that this happens. It's just an issue with the hero. Now, of course, the reason why Boots of Travel are good on this hero is because you farm the entire map at, like, flash speed, right? It's ridiculous. You just farm everything. And so the bots are great. I would just buy 1. Moving on from there. Yeah, you just want to show up to fights late. So basically, we see him clean up a mid fight here. After this mid fight, he's going to go back to farming. And you just rinse repeat. It's just ancients. And then if you have bots, you TP into a fight and you rinse repeat. For instance here, you TP in late. You just basically respond to ganks. Love this. Boom, hits a 2-man stun. And the damage is this hero's damage, guys. There's not a lot of heroes that do as much damage as Lina in the early game. It's ridiculous. And at this point at level 15, he's now has the talent, and so he has 59% magic resist, which is just some funny stuff. 59%. This is what heroes have when they like buy pipe, just so you understand. Actually, it's less when you buy pipe. Because pipe gives 30%, this gives 35 when you have max stacks. So it's just funny stuff, guys. So you might be saying, how do you kill Lina then? Well, she has 11 armor. And that is why, if you're picking Lina, it's actually best to pick this hero with heroes that give armor. So a couple of the meta examples are Sven support is absolutely fantastic. It's a great lane as well, stun in the stun, plus Warcry in the mid game, or Train Protector, which is also a great lane. And then living armor gives 10 armor in the mid game. So these combos, the armor plus Lina's 15 talent makes her unkillable. She truly just will have 60 to 70% resist, depending if she's ultied or not, in both magic and physical resist. And what's cool about 23 Savage's build this game is he doesn't do some sort of like standard pike. I really expected him to buy Hurricane Pike this game to get away from the Monkey King, to get away from the Razor. But no, he goes full Chad build. And this Chad build is really good in average pubs as well, because even if your team is playing poorly and not finding team fights, you can just use the Shadow Blade to split push or get solo pickoffs, which is really high value and easy to do on Lina. But yeah, in this team fight here, I think he boots the travels onto the Visage Birds, which I didn't even know you could do that when they're stone form, but apparently you can. Goes in, pops the Shadow Blade so he can't get stunned, drops the ulti, and he actually relies on Maelstrom procs because they go through evasion. He relies on Maelstrom procs to try to kill this Wind Ranger through Wind Run, which I thought was really clever, and it actually works. So that was awesome. That was a really, really heads up play. And then from there, look at the damage on the Razor here. Just strict auto attacks. Almost kills him from 2/3 HP. And they end up winning the fight as a result, right? Because the Visage was able to finish off the Razor. So just crazy. There isn't even that much magic damage this game, which is kind of a shame, because I can't exactly highlight how good this 15 talent is. But in your average game, like let's say there's some Zeus nuking you, you're gonna quickly realize that like it's just not doing that much. So in terms of your next items, guys, generally it's going to be BKB. Like the most common build on this hero is Gleipnir, Boots of Travel, and a BKB, which I used to agree with, but now that you have this 15 talent, I would actually try to shy away from BKB. It is greedy, and it can cause you to get chain stun, especially by heroes like Sven that might go on you with like a stun plus physical damage. It feels very cringe not to have BKB in games like that. Sometimes people just look at BKB as a magic resist item, where it's actually more of like a stun resist item. But okay, moving on ahead, I like what he does here, which is the Lincolns. It's against Wind, it's against Spirit Breaker, it's against Razor. Personally, I would buy Pike this game. I'm usually more of a type of player that likes buying like the Lincoln's Pike. I just feel that this hero does more than enough damage, especially now that you hit level 20, you get 10 more attack speed per stack. You do more than enough damage. I lean towards just staying alive and being able to siege, right? Where if you want to siege early game, the Dragonlance from Pike and the mobility from Pike will allow you to do that. This build that he's going is far more of a split push and pick off build. And so you just feel out the game. If your team wants to end and hit buildings, you should have Dragonlance. Minimum, Pike is even better. If you're playing more of a split push and like join the fight late type build, this is wonderful. This is better, right? The Shadow Blade and the Lincolns. And so just adapt how the game is playing out. It's pretty hard. It's definitely one of the difficulties of Lina, but it's one of the strengths of the hero. And yeah, at this point of the game with the Tinker support and the 15 talent, I don't want to say he's invincible. He could die to physical damage, but man is he tanky. He also has an AC from Visage behind him, Vlad's armor, Solar Crest armor. He's got the buffs. The aura meta with something like Lina that doesn't have to buy BKB due to her 15 talent, or sometimes doesn't have to buy BKB, is super OP. And I think this hero just like Omega fits the meta. Her only weakness is Crimson Guard, but like that's like the case for a lot of heroes, you know? So it's like, it is what it is almost. But yeah, Teamfight breaks out. I actually think it's really cool how much he hits Wind this game. completely relying on a 30% chance to proc Maelstrom. It's not something I've seen almost any players do, but he's actually doing it and it looks good. Pretty shocking. And that's how much damage you do. You can kill Wind Ranger hitting her 30% of the time. It's like so funny. But okay. Oh, and he got this item. This item's cool. The attack speed's pretty terrible. The slow resist is like mediocre. But the 20 armor when stunned is really good on this hero. Definitely something to keep in mind. But okay, that's going to be all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below. And I'm out. Peace.